If you want to see real change fast, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter with one simple habit. This habit rewires how you focus, how you act, and how you finish what matters most. In just 30 days, it can multiply your results like nothing else. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just steady, powerful progress. This video shows exactly what that habit is and how to use it every day to take control and get 10 times more done than you ever thought possible. Chapter 1. Start your day with a clear written plan. When you wake up in the morning, the first few minutes decide more about your day than you realize. Most people roll over, grab their phone, and let the world pour its noise into their head before they've even sat up. They scroll, they check messages, they look at random posts, and they start their day in reaction mode. By the time they actually get to their work or their goals, their focus is already broken. This is why I want you to build one habit that will change everything in 30 days. Write a clear plan for your day before you do anything else. Not in your head. Not kind of knowing what you need to do. I mean physically writing it down on paper. A list, a schedule, a clear set of steps. When you do this, you're not just writing tasks, you're creating direction. You're telling your mind, this is where we're going today. You're cutting out the guesswork and the wasted hours. Think about how much time you've lost in the past, just figuring out what to do next. You finish one task, then pause for 10 minutes deciding the next move. You check your phone, you make coffee, you open a new tab. Before you know it, you've wasted 40 minutes doing nothing that pushes you forward. A clear written plan fixes this. When I say clear, I mean specific. Work on my project is not specific. Finish the introduction for my project and send it to my team by 10:30 a.m. is specific. It tells you exactly what needs to be done and by when. You don't have to make it complicated. Here's how I do it every morning. First, I take a blank page. I write the date at the top. Then I write the 3-5 most important things I need to get done that day. Not 10, not 20. Just the ones that matter most. Second, I put them in order. The hardest, most important one goes first. Always. That way, even if the rest of the day falls apart, I've already made big progress before lunch. Third, I set realistic times. If I know a task will take an hour, I give it an hour. I don't try to cram 5 big things into a 2-hour window. That's setting yourself up for failure. This isn't about working harder, it's about working with intention. You'll notice something when you stick to this habit for a few days. Your stress drops. You wake up without that scattered feeling. You move through your day with more focus. You waste less time wondering what's next. And at the end of the day, you feel that satisfaction of knowing you did exactly what mattered. The truth is, most people aren't failing because they're lazy. They're failing because they don't have a clear plan. They spend their energy reacting to whatever comes their way instead of deciding where their energy goes. Think about an athlete before a big game. They don't just walk onto the field and see what happens. They know the plays. They know the strategy. They know exactly what they're aiming for. That's how they win. Your life works the same way. You might say, but I already know what I need to do. That's fine, but there's a huge difference between knowing in your head and writing it down where you can see it. When it's written, it becomes real. It's harder to ignore. You can hold yourself to it. And here's another thing, writing a plan is not just about productivity, it's about self-respect. When you make a plan for your day, you're showing yourself that your time matters. You're saying, my hours are valuable and I'm going to use them well. In the first week, it might feel strange. You might forget. You might even write the plan and then ignore it halfway through the day. That's normal. This is why you commit to 30 days. Because by the third week, it will feel automatic. You'll start your morning thinking, all right, let's write the plan, without even hesitating. And here's the real reward. The results stack up fast. 30 days from now, if you do this, you'll look back and see how much you've accomplished. You'll see projects finished, goals reached, and progress that used to take months now happening in weeks. You don't need to overhaul your whole life. You don't need a massive new system or expensive tools. You just need one page, a pen, and the discipline to write your plan every single morning before you do anything else. So tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the news, before checking in on anyone else's agenda, sit down for 5 minutes. Write your plan. Keep it short. Keep it clear. Keep it realistic. Then go live it out. If you stick to this for 30 days, you will 10x your results. Not because you're suddenly working more hours, but because every hour you work will actually count. This is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about taking control of your day before the day takes control of you. The choice is simple. You can keep waking up and drifting, or you can wake up and direct. One gives you another month of the same results. The other gives you the fastest growth you've ever seen. Start tomorrow. Chapter 2. Remove all distractions during focused work hours. You can have the clearest plan in the world, but if your attention is broken every few minutes, you'll never reach your full potential. Focus is where results are made. And the truth is, most people are not actually working when they think they are. They're starting and stopping. They're checking their phone. They're bouncing between tabs. They're letting every little noise pull them off track. If you want to multiply your results in 30 days, you have to remove every distraction during your focused work hours, not reduce them. Remove them. When I say distractions, I'm not just talking about the obvious ones like social media. I mean anything that pulls you out of the task in front of you. That includes unnecessary conversations, random notifications, background TV, or even the habit of checking your email every 5 minutes. Here's the reality. Every time your attention is pulled away from your work, it takes time to get back into it. Some studies suggest it can take several minutes to fully regain your focus after an interruption. That means one little ping from your phone can cost you far more than a few seconds. Over the course of a day, those little breaks add up to hours of lost progress. To truly protect your focus, you have to set rules for yourself. The first rule is this: decide on your focused work hours before the day begins. It might be 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It might be 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. if you're an early riser. What matters is that these hours are dedicated to deep, undisturbed work. No errands, no calls, no casual browsing. Just the work that moves your goals forward. The second rule is to physically separate yourself from distractions. Don't trust your willpower alone. If your phone is within arm's reach, you will check it, even if you tell yourself you won't. So put it in another room. Turn off notifications. If you work on a computer, close every tab that's not part of your current task. The third rule is to let people around you know when you are unavailable. If you live with others or work in a shared space, tell them from this time to this time, I'm not available unless it's urgent. This creates boundaries that protect your focus. Without clear boundaries, people will pull your attention without even realizing it. The fourth rule is to prepare your workspace before you begin. Clear off clutter. Have everything you need ready to go. This way, you don't waste your first 20 minutes looking for a charger or trying to find a notebook. And here's something most people overlook. Mental distractions are just as dangerous as physical ones. You might not be checking your phone, but if your mind is constantly drifting to other things, you're still breaking your focus. One way to handle this is to keep a small mental dump notebook nearby. If you remember something you need to do later, write it down and get back to work. Don't let it sit in your head and pull you away from the task. Now, I'm not saying you need to work like this all day. Nobody can maintain deep focus for 10 hours straight. But if you can give yourself 2 or 3 hours of truly distraction-free work every day, your output will skyrocket. Those hours will be worth more than entire days of half-focused effort. The first week you try this, you'll probably notice how often you normally let yourself be distracted. You'll reach for your phone without thinking. You'll open new tabs out of habit. You'll catch yourself checking something unrelated, just for a second. That's normal. It's a sign that this habit will be powerful for you. Awareness is the first step. By the second week, you'll start noticing something else. How much more you're getting done in less time. Tasks that used to take 3 hours, now take 1. Projects you've been putting off for months start getting finished. You'll feel more control over your day because you're no longer letting every outside thing take control of your attention. By the third and fourth week, this will feel natural. You'll reach the point where you actually enjoy those focused hours. You'll look forward to shutting out the noise and just working. The sense of progress you feel will start to feed your motivation. Removing distractions isn't just about getting more done. It's about building the kind of focus that gives you an edge in everything you do. Most people live in constant interruption mode. They've trained their brain to expect something new every minute. When you train yourself to focus deeply for long stretches, you set yourself apart instantly. It's also about respecting your own time. If you spend your work hours half working and half distracted, you're telling yourself your goals aren't that important. But when you remove distractions, you're saying, "This matters. I'm giving it my full attention." That shift alone can change the way you approach your goals. So here's your challenge for the next 30 days. Choose your focused work hours and defend them like your results depend on it. Because they do. No phone in the room, no background TV, no quick checks of your inbox, no opening apps or sites that aren't part of your work. If you need to take breaks, schedule them. That way you have a clear line between work time and rest time. When it's work time, work. When it's break time, rest. But don't mix them together. That's where most people lose their progress. You might be surprised at how difficult this feels at first. We've gotten used to constant stimulation. Your brain will crave it. But if you stick with it, you'll notice that your ability to focus grows stronger. The mental restlessness starts to fade. You stop needing to check something every few minutes. And the best part, when you combine this with the habit from Chapter 1, writing a clear daily plan, you'll be unstoppable. You'll know exactly what you need to do, and you'll have the focus to do it without losing momentum. That's how you multiply results in 30 days. Not with shortcuts, not with tricks, but with the discipline to remove everything that doesn't serve your work during the hours that matter most. So starting tomorrow, pick your focus hours, prepare your workspace, silence every notification, and shut the door on every distraction. Give yourself the space to work without interruption. Do this for a month, and you won't just see more progress, you'll see a completely different level of control over your time, your attention, and your life. Chapter 3. Track your progress daily to stay accountable. Most people set goals, work hard for a while, and then lose momentum. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't care, But because they stop checking where they actually stand. They work, but they don't measure. They put in hours, but they never look closely to see if they're moving forward or just moving in circles. If you want real change in 30 days, you need a habit that keeps you honest. That habit is tracking your progress every single day. Here's why this matters. When you track something, you stay aware of it. You can't ignore it. You can't fool yourself into thinking you're doing better than you are. You see the truth in front of you, in numbers or in clear written notes. And the truth is powerful. It keeps you accountable. Tracking your progress isn't complicated. It just takes consistency. Every day at the same time, you record exactly what you did, not what you planned to do, not what you hoped to do, what you actually did. If your goal is to write, track how many words you wrote. If your goal is to exercise, track how many minutes you trained or what exercises you completed. If your goal is to grow your business, track the actions you took that move it forward, calls made, clients reached, sales completed. The key is to be specific. Worked on project is too vague. Finished 2 sections of the project and sent them for review is clear. When you start doing this daily, you'll notice 2 things. First, it creates a sense of responsibility. You know you'll be writing down your results tonight, so you push yourself to actually make progress worth writing. Second, it reveals patterns. You'll start to see which days you're at your best, what habits help you perform, and what habits slow you down. Here's a simple way to start. Pick one main goal you're focused on for the next 30 days. Decide how you'll measure it in a clear, concrete way. Set a fixed time each day to record your progress, either right after the task or at the end of the day. You don't need fancy tools. A notebook works. A simple spreadsheet works. What matters is that you do it without fail. Accountability isn't just about discipline, it's about facing reality. If you go 3 days without making progress, you'll see it in your log. You can't hide from it. That's where change happens. Because when you see that you've been falling short, you either correct it or you quit. And if you're serious, you'll correct it. There's also another benefit to tracking daily: motivation. When you look back after a week and see that you've consistently moved forward, it builds confidence. You realize you're not just hoping to make progress, you're actually doing it. That belief fuels more action. But you have to be honest. Don't write down numbers or results that make you feel good but aren't true. This habit only works if you face exactly where you are, even if you're not proud of it that day. Some people avoid tracking because they're afraid to see slow progress. But slow progress is better than no progress, and no progress is what you get when you stop paying attention. A slow step forward still moves you closer to your goal. In the beginning, it may feel like just another thing to do. You might even think it's a waste of time because the act of tracking doesn't seem like real work. But here's the truth: tracking is the work that protects all your effort. It's what keeps you from drifting. Let's be real. Without tracking, it's easy to overestimate how much you're doing. You might feel like you're putting in long hours, but when you actually write down the results, you see that most of that time was scattered. On the other hand, you might underestimate yourself and think you're not doing enough, but the log shows you've been steadily building momentum. Either way, the clarity you get is worth it. To make this habit stick, keep your tracking method simple. If it takes more than a couple of minutes, you won't keep up with it. For example, writing goal. Day 8, 1,050 words written in 1 hour 20 minutes. Fitness goal, day 12, 45 minutes strength training, 20 minutes cardio. Business goal, day 15, 12 outreach emails sent, 3 calls completed. Clear, specific, quick to record. Now, here's the part that will push your results even further. Review your tracking at the end of each week. Don't just record and forget it. Look at it. Ask yourself, did I do what I said I would do? Which days were my most productive? And why? Where did I waste time or lose focus? What changes will I make next week to improve? This weekly review turns tracking into a growth tool. You're not just collecting numbers, you're learning from them. Over time, you'll start noticing that tracking changes your mindset. You think more about how you spend your day because you know it's going to be recorded. You plan better. You avoid pointless tasks. You start valuing your time more because you can see, in writing, how it's being used. By the end of the 30 days, your tracking log becomes more than a record. It's proof of your consistency. Proof that you're capable of showing up every day. Proof that small actions done repeatedly add up to something real. And that proof matters. Because when you start your next goal, you won't be starting with doubt. You'll be starting with the confidence of someone who's already proven they can stay accountable. So starting tonight, before you go to bed, write down exactly what you accomplished today toward your main goal. Do it again tomorrow. Keep doing it for 30 days. Don't miss a single day, even if your progress is small. Record it. You might think this is a small habit, but it's one of the most powerful you can build. The world is full of people who work hard but have no clear record of their progress. Don't be one of them. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Track your progress. Stay accountable. And watch your results multiply faster than you thought possible. Chapter 4. Break big goals into small daily tasks. One of the biggest reasons people give up on their goals is because they feel too far away from them. They look at the size of the goal, compare it to where they are now, and feel overwhelmed. That feeling makes it easy to put things off. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, and you say the same thing again. Before you know it, months have passed, and nothing has moved forward. If you want to achieve big goals, the fastest way is to stop looking at the entire mountain and start focusing on the small daily steps that will take you to the top. This is the habit that will completely change how you work, breaking your big goals into small, clear daily tasks. The reason this works is simple. When a goal is broken down into small actions, it becomes manageable. It no longer feels impossible. You stop overthinking and start acting. Think about this. If your goal is to write a 300-page book, you could stare at 300 pages and feel like it's too much. But if you break it down into 2 pages a day, suddenly it's not only doable, it's guaranteed to be finished in 5 months. 2 pages a day doesn't scare anyone, but over time, it adds up to something huge. The same goes for fitness. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds, that number might feel like it's going to take forever. But if you focus on making today's workout happen and sticking to today's meals, the 20 pounds takes care of itself. The key is to stop treating the big goal as something you attack all at once. You don't. You chip away at it in consistent small steps that fit into your daily schedule. Here's how you can start doing this. Step 1. Write down your main goal clearly. Don't write "get fit" or "make more money." Be specific. For example, lose 20 pounds by the end of 3 months, or earn $5,000 in new sales by the end of the quarter. The clearer you are, the easier it will be to break it down. Step 2. Break it into milestones. If your goal is 3 months away, what should you have done by the end of the first month? What about the second month? These milestones give you checkpoints to make sure you're on track. Step 3. Break the first milestone into weekly actions. Ask yourself, what needs to happen this week to hit my first milestone? This gives you 7 days of specific targets to focus on. Step 4. Break each week into daily tasks. Now you're getting to the most important part. You turn each weekly goal into small daily tasks that you can complete without feeling overwhelmed. For example, big goal, read 12 books this year. Milestone, 1 book per month. Weekly action, read 70 pages this week. Daily task, read 10 pages today. It's simple, but it works because you always know exactly what to do today. You don't wake up wondering what step to take next. There's another reason this habit is powerful. It removes excuses. When a task is small and clear, you can't justify skipping it by saying, "I don't have time." Everyone has time for a 15-minute task. Everyone can make progress if the step is small enough. But here's the important part. Small tasks only work if they're tied directly to your main goal. A lot of people fill their to-do lists with busy work that makes them feel productive, but doesn't actually move them closer to what they want. If the task doesn't directly support the goal, it doesn't belong on your daily list. When you start working like this, something interesting happens. You stop procrastinating as much because your brain isn't overwhelmed. You don't see a huge, complicated project. You see one step, one thing, and you can handle one thing. Over time, these small daily wins create momentum. You start feeling progress every single day instead of waiting months to feel like you've achieved something. That feeling keeps you going. Let me give you a few more examples. Goal: save $5,000 in 6 months. Milestone: $835 per month. Weekly action: save $210 each week. Daily task: transfer $30 to savings each day. Goal: launch a new online business in 90 days. Milestone: complete market research in first month. Weekly action: interview 5 potential customers this week. Daily task: contact 1 person for an interview today. Goal: improve health and fitness in 3 months. Build a consistent workout habit by month 1. Weekly action: complete 4 workouts this week. Daily task: do today's workout before 6 p.m. See how specific and clear this is. You don't have to wonder if you're making progress. If you complete the daily task, you're on track. Some people resist breaking things down because they think it will take too much time to plan. But the truth is, planning your steps takes far less time than wasting weeks feeling lost or starting and stopping because you don't know what to do next. And there's another big benefit. Breaking down your goals makes it easier to track your progress, which ties directly to what we covered in the last chapter. You can check off daily wins, see them adding up, and know exactly how far you've come. In the first week of trying this, keep your daily tasks as small as possible. You're building the habit of consistency, and that's more important than trying to do too much at once. You can always make the tasks bigger later once you've built momentum. By the second week, you'll start noticing a change. The big goal doesn't feel so heavy anymore. You stop thinking about how far away it is and start thinking about what you can do right now. By the third and fourth week, you'll have proof that this works. You'll look back and see the progress you've made from those small steps. And that's when you realize the big goal wasn't really the challenge. The challenge was breaking it down and actually showing up for the small steps every day. So take your biggest goal right now and put it through this process. Get it on paper, break it into milestones, break those milestones into weeks, break the weeks into daily actions, then focus on nothing else but completing today's step. Do this for 30 days, and you'll be shocked at how much closer you are to your goal. Not because you worked longer hours, but because you worked with clarity, consistency and focus. Chapter 5. Review and adjust your strategy every evening. A lot of people work hard all day, but never stop to ask themselves a simple question: is this actually working? They keep doing the same thing over and over, even when it's not getting results. Then they wonder why they feel stuck. If you want to improve faster, you can't just work. You have to review what you did and adjust your approach every single day. This is what keeps you from wasting time. It's what allows you to grow faster in 30 days than most people do in a year. The best time to do this is in the evening, when the day is fresh in your mind. You look back, see what worked, see what didn't, and decide how you'll improve tomorrow. This is not about beating yourself up. It's not about feeling guilty for mistakes. It's about learning and making smarter choices. Every evening review is a chance to fine-tune your plan so you get better results with less wasted effort. Here's how you can make this work. Step 1. Set aside 10-15 minutes before you end your day. Find a quiet place, put away your phone, and focus only on the day you just finished. Step 2. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I accomplish today? What could I have done better? What is my plan for tomorrow? Write the answers down. Keep them short but honest. When you answer the first question, you remind yourself that you did make progress. Even if it's small, you give yourself credit. This builds confidence and helps you see that the effort you put in matters. The second question is where the real growth happens. Here, you identify mistakes, distractions, or wasted time. You're not judging yourself, you're collecting useful information. Maybe you notice that checking emails in the morning threw off your schedule, or you realize you underestimated how long a task would take. These observations are gold because they tell you exactly what to change. The third question turns your review into action. Based on what you learned, you create a clearer plan for tomorrow. You're not just hoping tomorrow will be better, you're making it better by adjusting your approach. Over time, this habit creates a loop of improvement. You work, you review, you adjust, and you improve. Then you repeat. This is how people make huge progress in short periods of time. Now, let's be clear, reviewing your day is not the same as overthinking. Overthinking means replaying mistakes in your head and feeling stuck. Reviewing means looking at them once, deciding how to fix them, and moving forward. At first, you might resist this habit because you feel too busy. You'll tell yourself that you already know what went well and what didn't. But the truth is, unless you write it down and actively adjust, you'll keep repeating the same patterns without noticing. Think of how many times you've ended a day feeling frustrated but couldn't explain exactly why. That's because you didn't take the time to break it down. An evening review forces you to see the details, and those details are what help you grow. Here's a simple example. Goal: build a stronger morning routine. Today's review: what I accomplished. Woke up at 6:30, exercised for 20 minutes. What I could have done better. Wasted 25 minutes scrolling my phone before starting work. Tomorrow's plan: put phone in another room before bed so I don't touch it in the morning. That's it. Quick, honest, and actionable. Another example. Goal: grow my online business. Today's review: what I accomplished. Reached out to 5 potential clients, posted content online. What I could have done better. Didn't follow up with last week's leads. Tomorrow's plan: block 30 minutes in the morning for follow-up emails. The key is that every evening review leads to a change you can apply the very next day. This constant adjustment keeps you moving forward instead of repeating the same mistakes for weeks or months. One more important point. Your review is also a place to track your energy and focus levels. Some days you'll notice you worked better in the morning. Other days you might realize your best work happened late in the day. Use this information to structure your schedule so you're doing your most important work during your peak hours. When you practice this for a few weeks, you'll start making small, smart changes every day. Maybe you adjust your sleep schedule. Maybe you change the order of your tasks. Maybe you learn to avoid certain time-wasting habits. These changes might feel small in the moment, but over 30 days, they add up to massive improvement. Without this habit, you risk drifting through your days on autopilot. You might be working hard, but you're not working smart. You're not learning from your own experience. You're repeating the same mistakes because you're not stopping to see them. But with it, you become your own coach. You give yourself feedback daily. You make quick corrections. You get better every single day, not just every few months. The beauty of this habit is that it doesn't take long. 10 minutes at the end of the day can completely change your results over time. You just need to do it consistently. So, starting tonight, take a pen and paper, write down what went well today, what you could improve, and how you'll do it tomorrow. Don't skip it. Even if you're tired, take the few minutes. Do this for 30 days, and your days will no longer blend together. You'll be living with intention, learning from your own actions, and making progress at a speed you didn't think was possible. Chapter 6. Commit to a fixed schedule without skipping days. Most people overestimate what they can do in one big burst of effort and underestimate what they can achieve through steady, consistent action. They get motivated, work hard for a few days, and then stop. The problem is, every time you stop, you lose momentum. You waste time restarting. You feel like you're starting from zero again. The way to break this cycle is simple. Commit to a fixed schedule and follow it without skipping days. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Every single day, when you have a fixed schedule, your progress is no longer dependent on mood, motivation, or circumstances. It becomes automatic. You show up because it's the time you committed to, not because you feel inspired in the moment. This habit sounds simple, but it changes everything. It removes the decision-making struggle you face each day. The should I do it now or later question. You don't have to negotiate with yourself. The schedule decides. Why a fixed schedule works so well? Your brain craves structure. When you do the same activity at the same time each day, it becomes a built-in part of your life. You don't waste energy figuring out when to start. You just start. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate with yourself about whether or not to do it. You do it because it's part of your routine. That's what happens when you set a fixed schedule for your goals. The truth is, skipping days is more damaging than it seems. When you skip once, it becomes easier to skip again. Soon you lose the rhythm that made the habit easier in the first place. You might still get things done, but at a slower pace and with more mental effort. How to set your fixed schedule. Choose your priority activity. Decide what absolutely must happen every day. Whether it's exercise, writing, learning, or business work, pick the one thing that drives your biggest progress. Pick a time and protect it. Choose a time when you can consistently show up. It could be early in the morning before the world distracts you, or in the evening when things quiet down. Once you pick it, treat it like an appointment you can't miss. Keep the duration realistic. If you choose a schedule that's too demanding, you'll burn out. Start with an amount of time you can sustain long-term, even on busy days. You can always increase it later. Remove excuses in advance. If you know what might get in the way, plan for it. If family or work interrupts, communicate your schedule clearly. If energy is an issue, prepare the night before so you're ready to start immediately. The discipline effect. Something powerful happens when you follow your schedule no matter what. You build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you can follow through. This is more valuable than any single day's work because it changes how you see yourself. You go from I try to I do. Dit dove toets toerk. Even on days when you feel tired or unmotivated, showing up for your schedule matters. You might not produce your best work every single time, but you maintain the rhythm. And often, starting is the hardest part. Once you start, you usually end up doing more than you expected. What to do on bad days? There will be days when you're sick, exhausted, or overloaded with other responsibilities. On those days, you still keep your schedule, but you can adjust the intensity. If you usually work out for 30 minutes, do 5 minutes instead. If you usually write 1,000 words, write 100. The key is that you don't break the chain. This minimum effort approach keeps your habit alive and prevents you from slipping into the I'll start again tomorrow trap. Tomorrow becomes today because you never stopped. Example: if your fixed schedule is to work on your business from 7 o'clock to 8 a.m., then no matter how you feel, you're at your desk at 7 o'clock. Some days you'll be full of energy and ideas, other days you'll just do the basics. But every day you'll keep the habit alive. Why this builds faster results. When you work at the same time every day, your mind learns to focus more quickly during that period. You spend less time getting into the zone because your brain associates that time with action. Over weeks and months, this consistency compounds your progress. In contrast, an irregular schedule means you're constantly fighting yourself, deciding when to start, fighting distractions, and struggling to find rhythm. You might work the same total hours, but the quality and momentum won't be the same. Making your schedule non-negotiable. The biggest threat to a fixed schedule is treating it as optional. If you allow yourself to move it around or cancel it, you'll end up doing it less often. Instead, treat it like showing up for work or a doctor's appointment. You don't skip it unless it's truly unavoidable. To help with this, put it on your calendar. Set reminders. Tell others so they respect your time. The more you protect it, the easier it is to keep. The mindset shift at first. You might think committing to a fixed schedule will feel restrictive, but over time, you'll find it's freeing. Instead of worrying about when to work or if you'll have the time, you know exactly when it will happen. This removes stress and mental clutter. It also gives you a sense of control over your life. You're no longer drifting, waiting for the right time to make progress. You've created the right time and committed to it. Combining it with review and adjustment. From the previous chapter, you learned the value of reviewing and adjusting your strategy each evening. Your fixed schedule works perfectly with this habit. You review your day, make changes, and then apply them during your scheduled time tomorrow. This keeps your schedule productive and adaptable. Real-world results. People who commit to a fixed daily schedule often see dramatic improvements in 30 days. They finish projects they've been putting off for months. They build habits that used to feel impossible. And they feel more in control of their time. It's not because they suddenly found more hours in the day. It's because they stopped wasting energy deciding when to work and started showing up at the same time every day, without skipping. Your action step. Pick your priority activity. Choose your time. Commit to showing up for it every day for the next 30 days, no matter what. If you can't do the full amount one day, do a minimum version, but don't skip. By the end of those 30 days, you'll have more than just progress on your goal. You'll have a level of consistency and self-discipline that will serve you for life. Chapter 7. Prioritize the hardest task first each morning. Most people start their day by doing what's easiest. They check their phone, clear a few emails, or do small tasks that make them feel busy but don't actually move them forward. It feels good in the moment, but by the time they get to the work that truly matters, their energy and focus are already fading. The result is predictable. The most important work keeps getting postponed. It gets pushed to tomorrow, then the next day, until it turns into a constant source of stress and guilt. There's a better way. Start your day with the hardest, most important task. Before distractions, before fatigue, before the demands of the day take over, do the thing that will make the biggest difference. This single habit can transform your productivity, reduce your stress, and give you a stronger sense of accomplishment every day. Why the hardest task comes first. Your energy, focus, and willpower are highest in the morning. As the day goes on, your brain gets tired from all the decisions, conversations, and minor interruptions you face. If you save your hardest task for later, you're giving it your weakest hours. When you do the hardest task first, you're giving it your best energy. You tackle it while your mind is sharp and free from the clutter of the day. This means you'll not only finish it faster, but also do it better. There's also a psychological benefit. Getting the hardest thing done early removes a huge mental weight. Instead of carrying that task around in the back of your mind all day, you start the day already feeling lighter and more in control. What counts as the hardest task? The hardest task isn't always the one that takes the most time or physical effort. It's the one that you're most likely to avoid, the one that requires deep thinking, focus, or emotional courage. It could be having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, working on a critical project with a tight deadline, writing, designing, or creating something important for your business, learning a complex skill that stretches your abilities. Often, the hardest task is the one that will bring the biggest results if you complete it, which is exactly why it feels intimidating. Why doing it first works better than later. You might think you'll just warm up with small tasks and then do the hard one later, but this rarely works. Those warm-up tasks expand to fill more time than you expect. Urgent but unimportant issues pop up. By the time you get to the hard task, you're drained, distracted, and tempted to push it to tomorrow. Doing the hardest task first removes that risk. You start the day with a win. Everything else becomes easier because the pressure is off. How to actually make it happen? Decide the night before you end your day, decide what your hardest, most important task will be tomorrow morning. Write it down. This way, when you wake up, you don't waste energy deciding. You already know. Prepare your environment. If your hardest task is work-related, have your tools ready before you start. If it's a workout, lay out your clothes and gear. Remove any barriers that could cause delay. Start before checking anything. Don't open social media, email, or news first. Those things pull you into other people's priorities. Start with your task before you invite distractions into your mind. Use a set time block. Give yourself a fixed amount of time to work on it, for example, 60 or 90 minutes. During that time, don't switch to other tasks. Protect it from interruptions. Accept imperfection at first. Some people procrastinate because they want to do the hard task perfectly. Focus on progress, not perfection. You can refine later. What if the hardest task takes all day? If your hardest task is huge, you can't finish it in one morning. That's fine. Break it into smaller chunks and work on the first chunk in the morning. The key is that you start it when you have the most energy and focus, even if you can't complete it in one sitting. Overcoming the mental resistance. The hardest part is starting. Your brain will come up with excuses. I'll just do a few smaller things first, or I'm not ready yet. Recognize these as delay tactics. The moment you notice them, bring your attention back to the task and start anyway. You'll often find that once you start, the resistance fades quickly. Momentum takes over, and you realize it's not as bad as you imagined. Why this builds long-term confidence. Every morning you start with the hardest thing. You're training yourself to face challenges instead of avoiding them. Over time, this builds mental toughness. You start to trust yourself more. You know you can handle the things that matter most, even when they're uncomfortable. This confidence carries into other areas of your life. You stop putting off important conversations, projects, and decisions. You stop living in a cycle of avoidance and start living in a cycle of action. Real-world example. Imagine two people with the same workload. One spends the morning answering emails, attending minor meetings, and clearing their desk. The other spends the first 90 minutes working on the most important project for the week. By the end of the day, the first person feels busy but stressed. The big project is still waiting. The second person feels productive and relaxed. The hardest part is done, and everything else feels lighter. This difference compounds over weeks and months. The person who does the hardest task first makes consistent progress on high-value work, while the other stays stuck in a cycle of low-impact busyness. The hidden benefit: reduced mental clutter. When you avoid the hardest task, it lingers in your mind all day. Even while doing other things, you think about it. This drains mental energy and makes you feel behind. Finishing it early clears that mental clutter. You can give your full attention to everything else without the weight of unfinished important work pressing on you. Handling exceptions. There will be mornings when unexpected events disrupt your plan. If that happens, reschedule the hardest task for the earliest possible time that day. Don't push it to tomorrow unless it's unavoidable. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes to restart. Your action step for the next 7 days. Choose your hardest task each night and do it first thing in the morning. No distractions, no warm-up tasks. Just start. Notice how much more progress you make and how much lighter you feel for the rest of the day. By the end of the week, you'll see the difference. You'll not only have completed more important work, but also built the discipline to face your biggest challenges head-on. If you commit to this, you'll find that the hardest task stops feeling like something to fear. It becomes a normal part of your routine, something you expect to do and take pride in doing. That shift alone can change your entire approach to work and life. Chapter 8. Limit social media use to specific short times. Social media can be useful. It connects people, shares ideas, and can even be a tool for learning. But without limits, it becomes a constant distraction that steals your time, drains your focus, and affects your mental clarity. Many people spend more time scrolling than they realize. They check their phone for a few minutes, and before they know it, 30 minutes have passed. This isn't just about wasted time. Constant exposure to notifications, headlines, and endless content trains your brain to crave short bursts of stimulation instead of deep focus. If you want to regain control over your time and attention, you have to put social media in its place. That means limiting it to specific short periods instead of letting it bleed into every hour of your day. Why unlimited social media use is a problem. It breaks your focus. Every time you check your phone, you interrupt your train of thought. It takes time to get back into what you were doing. Even short interruptions add up over the day. It shortens your attention span. Social media feeds are designed to give quick hits of information. This trains your mind to expect constant novelty, making it harder to stay engaged with tasks that require patience and concentration. It encourages comparison. Spending too much time looking at other people's lives can lead to unrealistic expectations and unnecessary self-criticism. It eats away at time you could use for something meaningful. 20 minutes here and there may not seem like much, but over a week or a month, it adds up to hours you could have spent reading, learning, exercising, or connecting in person. The value of setting strict limits when you restrict your social media use to short, specific times, you give yourself the gift of uninterrupted time for other priorities. Instead of letting social media control your day, you choose when it fits into your schedule. This small change can lead to more time for real work and personal growth. Better mental clarity and less mental noise, less dependency on constant stimulation. Healthier emotional balance. How to create your social media time limits. Decide your time windows in advance. Pick 1 or 2 specific times during the day to check social media. For example, you might choose 15 minutes mid-morning and 15 minutes in the evening. Set a timer. Without a time limit, it's easy to keep scrolling. A timer creates a clear boundary and forces you to use the time intentionally. Keep it off your morning routine. Checking social media first thing in the morning fills your mind with other people's thoughts and priorities before you've even focused on your own. Start your day with your priorities first. Turn off non-essential notifications. Every ping is an invitation to break focus. Keep notifications for only the most important apps or people. Make access less convenient. Move social media apps off your home screen or even log out after each use. The extra step makes mindless checking less likely. Handling the urge to check outside your time slots. Breaking the habit can be uncomfortable at first. You might feel like you're missing something. That's normal. Your brain has been trained to seek the quick reward of checking. When you feel the urge, pause and ask, do I need this right now, or can it wait until my next time slot? Is there something more important I could be doing right now? Often the urge passes quickly when you shift your attention back to your current task. What to do during your allowed social media time? Make your use intentional, not automatic. Instead of aimlessly scrolling, decide what you want to do. Respond to messages from friends or family. Check updates from specific groups or pages you value. Share something meaningful if you choose to post. When your time is up, close the app and move on. The goal is to use social media as a tool, not a background habit. The deeper benefits of cutting down limiting social media isn't just about saving time. It changes the way your mind works. You'll notice better focus on reading, learning, and conversations. More patience for tasks that require sustained effort. Less emotional fluctuation from constant exposure to headlines, arguments, or curated highlight reels of other people's lives. A calmer mind that isn't constantly scanning for the next post or notification. Replacing the habit with something better. You don't just remove a habit, you replace it. If you cut down on social media but don't fill the space with something else, you might drift back into old patterns. Some ideas: read a book or article, take a short walk, journal your thoughts, practice a skill you've been wanting to learn, call or meet someone in person. These activities give you real value and often leave you feeling better than an extra 20 minutes of scrolling. Making it stick long term. This is easier when you understand that social media is designed to keep you engaged for as long as possible. The apps are built to work against your limits, so you have to be intentional. Review your limits regularly. Are your chosen time slots still working? Track your usage. Most phones have built-in tracking, so you can see if you're sticking to your plan. Be clear about your priorities. The more you value your time, the less you'll want to give it away to endless scrolling. A simple experiment for the next 7 days. Try this. Choose 2 15-minute time slots for social media each day. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Keep your phone out of reach when working or spending time with others. Notice how you feel at the end of the week. Most people find they not only gain time, but also feel calmer and more in control. Final thought: social media can be a tool or a trap. The difference is whether you control it or it controls you. By limiting it to short, specific times, you take back your attention and give yourself the freedom to focus on what truly matters. It's not about rejecting technology. It's about using it in a way that serves your life instead of stealing it. Chapter 9. Reflect on wins and lessons before going to bed. The way you end your day matters. It influences how you sleep, how you feel when you wake up, and even how you approach the next day. Many people go to bed with their minds full of worries, unfinished thoughts, or random distractions. This makes it harder to rest and harder to start the next day with clarity. Ending the day with reflection is a powerful way to bring closure to your day. It helps you acknowledge progress, learn from challenges, and set a better tone for tomorrow. 2 key parts of this reflection are recognizing your wins, the progress you made, big or small. Identifying lessons, what you learned and how you can apply it going forward. When you do this consistently, you build a daily habit of self-awareness and intentional growth. Why reflection before bed is important? It gives mental closure. Your brain likes to finish open loops. If you don't review your day, unfinished thoughts can linger and make it harder to sleep. It builds a sense of progress. Even small wins matter. Seeing them clearly reinforces the idea that your efforts are paying off. It turns mistakes into learning. By identifying lessons from the day, you make setbacks part of your growth, instead of something to dwell on. It reduces stress. Instead of carrying the weight of the day into your sleep, you unload it by processing it consciously. Step 1. Identify your wins. A win doesn't have to be huge. It can be anything that moved you closer to your goals, strengthened a relationship, or kept you aligned with your values. Examples might include finishing a task you've been putting off, choosing to eat a healthy meal instead of fast food, having a good conversation with someone you care about, staying calm during a stressful situation. By writing these down or saying them aloud, you train your brain to notice progress instead of only focusing on what's missing. Why it matters: your mind naturally pays more attention to problems and shortcomings. If you don't make a conscious effort to recognize your wins, you'll feel like you're not improving, even when you are. Step 2. Reflect on lessons learned. Every day teaches you something. If you take the time to notice, a lesson could come from a mistake, a conversation, a success, or even an unexpected event. Some examples: you realized a certain time of day is better for deep work. You learned you need to prepare earlier for meetings to feel confident. You noticed that skipping breaks actually made you less productive. You discovered that being direct with someone prevented a misunderstanding. The value of a lesson is in how you apply it. Reflection turns experience into insight, and insight into better decisions tomorrow. How to create a nightly reflection routine. Choose a consistent time. Right before bed works best. but you could also do it 30-60 minutes before sleeping. Keep it simple. Use 2 prompts. What went well today, and what did I learn today? This makes it easy to stick with. Write it down. Keeping a journal helps you track progress over time and makes your reflections more concrete. Keep it short. This isn't about writing long essays. A few bullet points are enough. Avoid mixing it with screens. If possible, do your reflection on paper instead of on a phone or computer to avoid the distractions that come with screens. Making it part of your sleep routine. Reflection works best when it blends into your nightly wind down. For example, turn off non-essential devices or notifications. Dim the lights. Take a few minutes to write your wins and lessons. Close the journal and let your mind rest. This signals to your brain that the day is done and you can let go of unfinished thoughts. The mental shift it creates. When you focus on wins, you train your brain to see progress. When you focus on lessons, you train it to grow from every experience. Over time, this daily habit builds gratitude for the good moments, big or small. Resilience, because you see value in challenges. Clarity, since you end each day knowing exactly what you achieved and what you can improve. Instead of feeling like your days blur together, you'll start to see clear patterns in your growth. Common mistakes to avoid: overthinking the process. Keep it simple and focused. Using reflection as a place for self-criticism. The goal is learning, not self-punishment. Skipping it when you're tired. Even a 1-minute reflection is better than nothing. Examples of a quick reflection day example. Wins: finished my workout, stayed calm in a meeting, cooked a healthy dinner. Lessons: need to plan tomorrow's tasks the night before. Short walks help me focus. Starting work earlier reduces stress. Another example. Wins: wrote 500 words for my project, called an old friend, avoided checking social media in the morning. Lessons: focusing on one big task first worked well. Taking breaks actually increased my productivity. Why this habit is worth keeping. Some people underestimate how much small habits shape their mindset. If you end your day without reflection, you might wake up feeling scattered, unsure if you're making real progress. But when you review your wins and lessons, you're building a record of growth that compounds over time. It's like stacking bricks. Each day might not seem like much, but over months and years, you're building something solid. Final thought: reflection before bed isn't about dwelling on the past. It's about learning from it and carrying the best parts forward. You're acknowledging your progress, turning challenges into lessons, and giving yourself a clean mental slate for tomorrow. It's one of the simplest habits to start, but it has the power to change how you experience your days and ultimately how you live your life. Chapter 10. Stay consistent even when motivation feels low. One of the biggest challenges in any goal or habit is what happens when motivation fades. Motivation is not constant. It comes and goes. Some days you feel ready to conquer the world. Other days you feel tired, distracted, or just plain uninterested. This is normal and happens to everyone. The key difference between people who succeed and those who don't is simple: consistent action, even when motivation is low. Success doesn't come from waiting for the perfect feeling. It comes from showing up when it's hard and keeping the routine alive. Why motivation isn't reliable? Motivation feels good, but it's fragile. It depends on mood, energy, circumstances, and even outside influences like what you watch or who you talk to. You can't depend on motivation to get work done every day, because it will leave you when you need it most. That's why relying on motivation alone to achieve your goals is a recipe for frustration. Instead, build your system around consistency. How consistency beats motivation. Consistency is about commitment and discipline. It means doing the work no matter how you feel. It means building habits and routines that carry you forward, even on difficult days. When you stay consistent, you build momentum. Small actions, repeated day after day, create results that multiply. Over time, consistent effort produces progress that motivation alone can't match. Strategies to stay consistent. When motivation is low, focus on small wins. When motivation dips, it's easier to commit to a tiny task than a big one. Breaking your work into small manageable steps means you're still moving forward. Completing even a small step gives you a sense of achievement and can reignite motivation. 2. Use a fixed schedule. When you work at the same time every day, your brain gets used to it. The routine becomes automatic. You don't need motivation to start, it's just what you do. This reduces the mental effort of deciding whether to work. 3. Prepare your environment. Make it easy to do the work by removing distractions and setting up your tools in advance. When everything is ready, it's simpler to get started, even if your motivation is low. 4. Focus on your why. Remind yourself why your goal matters. This helps bring clarity and purpose on days when energy is low. Your why can keep you moving when feelings aren't enough. 5. Allow yourself to adjust intensity. Consistency doesn't mean working at 100% all the time. Some days you might do less, and that's okay. The important part is showing up and doing something, not doing everything perfectly. 6. Use accountability. Tell someone about your goal or work alongside others. Accountability can create external pressure to keep going when motivation fades. What happens when you skip days? Skipping days can feel harmless, but it builds resistance. Each missed day makes it easier to miss the next one. Your routine breaks down, and motivation drops even more. That's why the habit of showing up, no matter what, is so powerful. Even a short session or a small step keeps the chain unbroken. You keep your momentum alive and make it easier to pick up again. Mental shifts to build consistency. Understand that motivation is a feeling, not a requirement. Embrace discomfort as part of growth. Celebrate effort, not just results. Be kind to yourself when you struggle, but don't quit. These mindset shifts make it easier to maintain consistency over time. Real-life example. Think about someone training for a marathon. They won't run a perfect workout every day. Some days might be slow or shorter. Some days they might feel tired or distracted. But if they consistently put their running shoes on and head out the door, even at a low pace, they build strength and endurance over weeks and months. Why this habit is a game changer. Consistency creates trust in yourself. You prove that you can rely on your own commitment. This builds confidence that extends beyond the task at hand. It becomes part of your identity, someone who follows through. When you develop this, motivation becomes a bonus, not a requirement. You stop waiting for motivation to strike and start creating results, regardless of how you feel. Final thought. The days when motivation feels low are the moments that define your progress. Those days separate those who finish what they start from those who give up. By committing to consistency, you build a foundation that carries you through every mood, every challenge, and every distraction. Over 30 days and beyond, this habit will transform not just your results, but your entire approach to growth and success.